Good afternoon, everybody. I'll try to make this as entertaining as possible, knowing you guys just had lunch, and hopefully we don't fall asleep during this. I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of information here. Don't worry about taking pictures. We're sending that form around so we can get your email, and we'll send you some of the slides as well. So as Tina mentioned, I'm the owner of Colson Technologies. I've been doing this stuff since the late 80s, and I continue helping businesses thrive today. So what we're going to learn today, we're going to learn about what AI is. We're going to learn a little bit about it. We're going to learn about how to use the public versions of AI. We're going to take a look at some of the AI that's been integrating in some of the apps that you use today. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that AI represents. So you're in the right place if you want to save time, you want to save money, you want to do more faster, you want to beat out your competition, and you want to understand how the world's changing around us. So without further ado, we're going to get into it. AI. What is it? It stands for artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is basically computer systems that act like humans, human-like tasks, and learning and decision-making. In short, it's a program, just like all the programs we've been using on our computers for years. So why is this a very big thing? Remember when all of us had to learn about how to use Google? What is this Google thing? I don't know how to use it. I don't know how to search it. Well, Google is so popular, it's now a verb. A lot of people say, I'm going to go Google something, or I Googled you. The kids coming up today said, search it up. They don't use Google like we do. So the race is typically on to be the next version of Google. And ChatGPT announced to the world. Everybody knows about ChatGPT, but that's not it. There's Grok, Perplexity, Google AI Studio, Gemini, Claude, and Copilot. And it continues to grow. This is just a screenshot. This is back in 2018, a screenshot of some of the artificial intelligence companies. And another one from 2018. And another one from 2018. This industry is exploding. It's getting into every facet of our lives today, whether it's grocery shopping, whether it's pictures on our phones, doing image recognition. So the speed of development is expanding so fast that Peter Diamandis, the X-Prize founder, said between 2022 and 2026, in just 4 years, we'll witness 100 years of technological change. So I broke it apart into a chart to give you an idea. So from 1900 to 2000, it was 100 years of knowledge. Well, from 2000 to 2016, 16 years it took for us to gain 100 years worth of knowledge. In 2016 to 2022, 6 years. 22 to 26, 4 years, and it gets even shorter. So you're looking at between 26 and 28, it's going to take us 2 years to gain 100 years of technical knowledge. In 2028 to 2029, it's a year. So I thought, let's do numbers a different way. I built this graph to show you. You can see most of that stuff on the far left over there, or your right, is where we're getting 100 years of knowledge. You're currently here on this green dot. It took us that long to get 100 years worth of knowledge, and it's expanding and growing so fast that the race is on. The race is on between us and China right now to come up to be the superpower of AI. And they're going so fast that sometimes they don't put the guardrails in place. So we're going to talk a little bit about the myths versus facts. Everybody's worried, oh my goodness, AI is going to replace my job. It's not going to replace your job. In fact, some of our jobs, we need to have feeling and emotion to understand the true context of what's going on. They can't think, they can't feel. So many of your jobs are okay. I wouldn't worry about that. AI is only for big companies. Well, that's also a myth. There's a lot of affordable and free tools out there like ChatGPT, Gemini. In fact, most of those you can use probably 5, 6, 7 times until they start trying to charge you. I recommend going through multiple different versions to find the one that gives you the best results. AI is 100% accurate. Well, you heard that saying, just because it's on Google doesn't mean it's true. Well, just because AI said something doesn't mean it's true either. So this is why your jobs are not going to go anywhere, because you need to have that background understanding. So mistakes happen with AI. If you've heard of the term hallucination, I don't know why they call it hallucination. It just means that AI is wrong. It lied. It didn't have the right information to give you. So you're probably wondering about data and sensitivity. So it's not secure for secure information, so don't put your passwords in AI. Please don't. It's the same thing as finding your passwords on the dark web. It's searchable and other people can find it. Don't put financial information on there or anything that's identifiable to your company. This is using public AIs. Now I'll talk to you a little bit about private AIs in a bit. It doesn't have true understanding. Because we're humans, we have ways to understand things a little bit better. So because we have context, sometimes when you're talking to AI, it doesn't understand previous conversations you have had. So it doesn't understand what you were talking about prior. For us, when we're talking, have a conversation with people, we understand those conversations. We understand what the context is. So it doesn't truly understand it. There's also the dependency on data. I'm going to challenge you guys to go and ask AI, what is its current data set? Its current data set means it cuts off the data and the knowledge at a certain period of time. For instance, as the president was in office, I was asking, who's the current president? It said Biden. But by that time, President Trump was in the office. So I knew that it didn't have the most current information. And this is where I was talking about knowledge cutoffs and freshness. Limited context. So limited context and memory. If you're having a conversation with it, and I'll show you how we do this in a little bit. When you're having a conversation with AI, if you have a conversation on day 1 and day 2, you ask it what you talked about on day 1, it may not remember what you talked about. So it doesn't keep that memory yet. They're working on it. So it'll be your version of Jarvis. You guys remember Iron Man and Jarvis? Where you can ask this AI anything and it remembers? That stuff is coming. It's right around the corner. Here's a screenshot of the current data set. The slide's a little out of order, but 2021, and I just took this probably beginning of March. So it was already a couple years old. And remember, it doesn't have emotions. It doesn't have any morality, and it doesn't have any common sense. So ambiguous, nuanced, and outlining situations, it obviously doesn't understand sarcasm. So when you're talking with it, understand some of its limitations. Now that I got the bad stuff and the caution out of the way, now I'm going to show you guys the cool stuff. So how do we use AI? Some of us in here may have never used AI. Some of us are pros at it. We use it every day and can't live without it. So my recommendation is pick one. Doesn't matter which one. Just pick one of these and play with it. You will have probably 5 to 10 questions that you can ask it, but start playing around with it. And how do we play around with it? We do 2 things. In the old days, we had to Google something. We had to say, go search for this company or go do something, and then we had to start back over. Here, with AI, we say act like something and prompt it. What I mean by that is act like a copywriter. I use it for my marketing, and I say act like the world's greatest viral copywriter. And for me, I like to watch Gary Vee and Alex Hormozi for my marketing. Then I tell it to prompt it and say, create a social media post for Facebook that includes engaging content for a roofing and construction company with the ultimate goal of having the reader or viewer call our main phone number and book an appointment for a discovery call. Sounds reasonable, right? Here's what it came up with. And it came up with this suggestion, but I didn't like some of the comments, or some of the ways it did this. So I said, well, since AI is supposed to be smarter or as smart as us, how do I improve it? So I asked it. At the top there, he said, how can I make this better, more engaging, and make it go viral? And it came up with a response down here, and it actually said down here, which I thought was pretty interesting, tag a friend whose roof's trash, right? That's how you get engaging content on social media. I thought, well, that's a good idea. I didn't think about that. So then I asked it to rewrite my entire post, and it rewrote my entire post, and there's that person's trash, or roof's whose trash, right? And of course, you can take out some of these names, but I have that in there specifically so you can see that personality in my post. Pro tip. Here's something that you can do with AI, and to get these results faster, is you ask it to write a prompt for you. So that post that I had, I said at the beginning of it, create a prompt to recreate this output. This is the prompt that I can then copy and paste into other AI systems to get different results. And you know what? I did exactly that. I'm a little ahead of myself. Here's ChatGPT's output. Here's Perplexity's output. Here's Gemini's output. And Gemini, I didn't even ask it to do this, gave me more information about the post and why it was so important and why it thought it put the things in there to help educate me for my next post. So there's a lot of AI coming. That's the public version of AI. Now let's talk about some of the AI that's available for some of your applications. How many of you guys use Autodesk? Okay, well, I'm going to go through a couple of this real quick then. Forma, Autodesk Forma has rapid analysis. This one, Revit, has generative design. This one has smart blocks and conversational AI. So just like you're talking with ChatGPT, you can talk about the project you're working on inside the project itself. And there's more for the architecture and engineering. So construction side of it, Autodesk AI in construction. There is Construction IQ. There is Construction Cloud. This is all part of Autodesk's Construction Cloud. And there's some more stuff here. So it gives you notes about different problems about the project. This version of it also auto tags photos. So if it takes a picture, it knows your geolocation. It recognizes things in there and will put tags in the actual project for you. There's document management inside of the construction. So submittals, as well as what else do we got here? Intelligent construction operations. And then this part here about reading documents to create submittal logs. So that's that part on Bluebeam. That's that part on Autodesk. Now we're talking about Bluebeam. Bluebeam is also used for PDFs and also architectural documents and to do markups. And it does a bunch of things. What I wanted to show you here is review as well as Anthropic Claude. Earlier we talked about Claude. Claude and ChatGPT and a bunch of these things are being built into the applications that you use today. So if you see the application that you're using has a new feature, try it out. Try to play around with it. I've got some more here for you. We've got a couple scheduling tools, customer service, project management, and marketing. So let's get into scheduling tools. Have any of you guys used Calendly before? So if you have, great. If you haven't, it saves you a lot of back and forth time between your clients and prospects. Well, what time works for you? Well, what time works for you? I ain't got time for this. Just here's the link to my calendar. Here's when I'm available. Go ahead and book your time. It's great. What they're using AI for is they're doing invitee matching. So if you have different people, say for instance, you have 3 people in dispatch and you want to be able to make a phone call, or you want somebody to book a meeting with 3 people. It doesn't matter which 3 of your people in dispatch or sales, they can actually schedule whoever's first available. Workflows is also something else that they're putting into a lot of these things. They call it AI, they also call it workflows, where you can start automating things. Somebody books an appointment, it sends somebody a text message, it sends them an email 3 days later, it sends them an email the day before you go out on site. So look for the workflows, look for automated AI systems being built into these. Yeah, so I just kind of went through all that. There's another one called Motion. Motion is project management, sales, and support and research. Why is it good for construction? AI automatically schedules tasks, appointments, and meetings by filling open slots in your calendar. Great for juggling job site visits, subcontractor meetings, and other time-consuming things. AI in the automation aspect of it automatically reschedules if something changes. So for instance, you need to bump a meeting. AI will say, well, you bumped a meeting, you canceled it. It'll reach out to that person and help to try to reschedule that. There are some free plans available, and this is what their website looks like. Now keep in mind, I'm not sponsored by any of these guys. These are just some things that I found for you guys to be able to talk about in the construction area. Customer service, any of you guys using Microsoft 365? All right. Have you guys played around with the Copilot that's in Microsoft 365? You guys are missing out. My words, my emails sound so professional, I swear somebody in the copywriting department wrote every single one of my emails. It's really easy to use. If you go out to portal.office.com, you can usually click on the chat aspect of it or that icon, this little icon anywhere in any of your office suites, whether it's Outlook, it's Word, Excel, even on Bing, technically. Copilot is a branded version of ChatGPT. But what I like about Copilot is it's a private version of ChatGPT for your organization only. So if you're sharing things or you're saving things into your SharePoint, it will actually be able to tell you what's in your SharePoint site. Here's an example. Actually, there's that. Here's an example of, I was busy. I had 15 minutes to sit down and take care of my email. I said, give me the most 3 important emails I need to respond to right now. And it did. And it listed them 1, 2, 3. And then what I highlighted here is like the fact that, would you like help drafting replies of any of these? That's a huge time saver. And right here are the 3 different emails that I can click on, and it could draft the replies. So you have some of these built in. There's a free version that you guys can play with today. There's a paid version for Copilot, and I think some of the Microsoft subscriptions that you guys may be using may automatically be upgraded to the AI. Microsoft's always changing things. It saves a lot of time. But if you don't have Copilot, that's okay. Remember, I said it was part of ChatGPT, or it was a clone of ChatGPT. So go out to ChatGPT and copy your email over and say, rewrite this for me, make it sound more professional, make it shorter, make it longer. There's even a teaching mode, but I don't have time for teaching. Just fix it for me. Let's go. For those on the Google workspace, there's Google and Duo or Duet AI. You may have also seen Gemini. You may also be using AI right now and you don't even know it. How many of you started typing on your phones and started typing in your emails and it tries to autocomplete? That's AI. That's AI trying to autocomplete your sentences because it's learning who you are and your behavior and how to help you autocomplete that. So you can just hit the space bar or you can hit tab and start to autocomplete your emails. So let's talk about project management. Project management is, let's see. There we go. There's all-in-one AI. There's ClickUp, there is Asana, there's Monday, and there's Notion. Each one of these applications are just a couple that we found just to kind of do the presentation for you guys that I will talk a little bit about here. So ClickUp, it's an AI add-on, and it helps summarize, write updates, create project documents. Sounds a lot like what Copilot would do. You're going to find, as we talk about some of these, there starts to be an overlap because they all start to do the same thing because they're all starting to use the same language models. So flexibility, it has lists, it has boards. Some people like to use Gantt charts, and it has dashboards as well. There's a free feature, but this feature for AI for ClickUp is a paid feature. Let's talk about Asana. Asana started out as a task manager software, and it continues to grow. So it has smart updates, has automated workflows, and predictive insights. It's actually, what's nice about Asana is it integrates inside of Slack, Teams, Google Workspace. So pretty much where you guys are already working, it integrates with it. What's good at this, what's best for this? Teams that already use Asana and want AI to save on time and reporting follow-up. I'm going to diverge for just a second here. How many of you guys have joined meetings on Zoom or Teams and see these little note takers? These note takers are versions of AI that basically summarizes your meetings. I had a meeting last week. I sat down with somebody and they said, do you mind if I have this recorded? I said, wait, I'm sitting here in person. Why do you want to record it? Well, because my note taker. Oh. And I thought for a moment, do I want to let him record me, or do I want to make him remember all the things that we talked about? So it was my benefit to let him record me so then we can actually get better notes from AI that could take notes better than somebody sitting there scribbling things down. So for me and him, it was a time saving. Was it a security or confidentiality thing? A little bit, but it benefited me because I was able to learn, or I was able to save time by not having to scribble my own notes. He just shared the notes with me and said, we're done, here you go. Here's the follow-up items. It knew exactly who was going to do what because it understood that. So a lot of these tools are starting to put that voice stuff in there. So Asana I know has that. That's why I tangented on that for a second. Monday.com is another one. It generates task descriptions. It automates workflows and analyzes project data. There's visualization boards and timelines. That sounds a lot like what Teams does in Microsoft as well. But some people don't want to use Teams. Some people don't want to use Microsoft products, and that's okay. I know a company or two that's using Monday.com to run their whole business. Great. Whatever works, use it. So Notion is another one. Earlier we talked about Motion. This one's Notion, which is a little bit different. This one creates notes, documents, databases, project boards. AI helps with drafting content, summarizing notes, turning tasks into action items. Sounds a little bit like that note taker. Sounds a little bit about like Copilot in helping you write your emails. So the last one we're going to add on here is marketing. So some of you may have, we talked about marketing a little bit earlier because I showed you an easy example. I know each of you have different job roles, different functions, so I thought, well, let's talk about marketing because it's pretty easy. You've got ChatGPT. You just type in a question. You act like something. Say, act like this copywriter, act like this person, and create me some sort of content. I actually use ChatGPT. I had, well, probably shouldn't say it, but I wanted to write a collections letter. And collections letter, you know, have some legalese into it. So I wanted to create a collections letter, but I had no idea where to start. So I used ChatGPT as a base and as a foundation for me to at least draft it. And then I sent it over to my attorney and said, what do you think of this? She said, this is great, use it. Great, I just saved a lot of time and a lot of money. She didn't even charge me for the quick review of that. So this is how it can save a lot of time. So right now you may be thinking, well, how can I use this? I've used it for recipes. I used it for marketing. I've used it to create work procedures at my office. I'm like, here's what I want to do. Help me create an outline. Help me create a standard operating procedure for what I'm trying to do. And it makes it sound really good and professional. So I encourage you to try to use that in as many ways that you can. Here we're just talking about marketing. Some of you may use Canva for some of your marketing as well. You can have it automatically generate images. Now, each image generation from each platform is a little bit different. I have it listed here just because it's a popular name and a lot of people seem to use that. Photoshop and those other Adobe tools get a little costly. Yeah, get a little costly. So in some of these, they have magic writing. They actually have photo cleanup. You've probably seen it on some of the iPhones where if you take a photo at a beach, you can actually erase the person that's walking behind that photo just to have just your subject. That is AI, but it's not really called AI. They're just incorporating these features. Another one is HubSpot, CRMs. Do you guys use CRMs around here? Yep. All right, so HubSpot, high level, Wix, any CRM works as long as you use it. There's nothing like paying for a tool that you don't use. So HubSpot has a lot of AI that they're building into it. Go High Level is building in quite a bit of AI, knowing how often a person has been contacted or when the last time that they've been communicated with, or that, hey, you haven't talked to I'm going to pick on Joe for a second. You haven't talked to Joe in a while. How about sending an email to Joe? See how he's doing. You know what, that's a great idea. I should send an email. Would you like me to draft that email for you? Sure, draft the email for me. And review it and then send it out. And I keep saying talking to it. A lot of these things you can talk to. How many of you like to talk in the car while you're driving just to kind of help get to your destination sooner? I'll admit to that one, right? I put on Grok or ChatGPT and I have a conversation with these AIs as I'm driving. Give me some ideas. Give me a 30-second commercial. Give me my elevator pitch. Help me understand some things. And I'll give you a quick story about that. I'll just go on this one. I actually put two phones together. This is a trick that you guys should do at some time. I did one with ChatGPT and I did another one with Grok. And what I did is I muted one and I said, why is the sky blue? And I unmuted the other one. The sky is blue because of rays and molecules in the atmosphere. Then the other one picked up, oh, it's great, and the dust in the atmosphere makes it kind of an orange glow at sunset. And then the other one went back and said, well, it's orange. It's kind of like the sunset on Mars because of all the dust. It's always red up there. And then they went and talked to Venus and started talking about just sitting there listening to this conversation was probably the most entertaining thing I've seen in a little while. Right? So play with the two and see where the conversations go. So far they haven't gone any down. So far they have not gone down any dark rabbit holes, but it could go off the rails. So that's why they still need humans to control it, right? So if you guys want some more help, I know I just unleashed a lot of stuff on here. In fact, I took out probably 30% of the presentation here. But what I'm going to offer you guys here is we created an AI community. So if you guys want to have some questions, you want to reach out to some of us that are in this AI space, I've created this Colson AI community where you guys can go and ask some questions, where other people can go and ask questions. And we're also putting courses together where we can go through these things in a logical, organized way, and you guys are able to go through that. And this is just one of the images. So part of today was recording this presentation, but we're recording more content to put up there on videos so you guys consume this, and then also do some walkthroughs. How do you actually incorporate this? How do you use Copilot? Chris, you said something about using, was it Copilot? How do you use Copilot in My Outlook? Well, here's how you do it. You click on this icon, or you click this little icon next to where you're typing after you select it, and then you tell it what to do. It's usually a 30-second tip, but you don't know where to start, so this is why we're putting this together, is how to get started. And yes, there's usually a cost, but for you guys, there's no cost. So I wanted to at least let you guys know about that. And the last one is, you talked about one agent. Remember earlier we talked about Jarvis. And I did this search for construction templates as well. What this is it's a way to start chaining these AIs together. So say, for instance, you have an AI system set up to schedule your meetings. Then you have an AI system to send emails. Then you have another one to book appointments. Then you have another one to update your contacts off of LinkedIn. These are all individual agents. What's happening now is they're starting to chain these things together. I have a system, I have two of them set up right now. Is one, it searches through my emails and tells me what's the most important emails. It also categorizes them. How many of you have gotten emails that say unsubscribe, unsubscribe, and you keep getting them and you don't know where you're getting them from? I'm not going to sit there and spend my time to sit there and unsubscribe from it. I want to put AI in control to say, if this has an unsubscribe, it's a newsletter. So throw it into a newsletter folder for me automatically, get it out of my inbox. 300 messages a day is a bit much. So get that out of my inbox so I can focus on what's most important to me at the time that I sit down. So it's saving me a ton of time. The other one I have is I actually have a form where I can post just a random comment, like just a random quote from a famous person like Albert Einstein. And what it would do is it'll go through and research the quote, make sure it's spelled right, add a couple more words to it, add an image to it, and post it on all 5 of my social networks. I just filled out a form. It's getting that easy. So here's another one for being able to scrape websites and pull that information into a database. You're sending an agent out there, you're starting a trigger an email, extract the information, scrape the construction projects, and what's the rest of it say? Parse the project listing, and I think on the last form it's there, it actually adds it to an Excel spreadsheet. So I hope that helped, because what we learned today is, what is AI? What are the current challenges? Be careful, it's not always correct. Always second guess it like we do our spouses sometimes. Be careful what information you're putting in public AI, because it can be used against you. Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true. Just because it's not in your, just because it's out there, be careful with what information you put into it. But I would encourage you to leverage it in every place that you can, because this stuff is coming and it's not going to go anywhere. Right now we're at a time in the world that I've actually watched the dot-com bubble. I've watched the broadband technology expand. I've watched computers change the world. I've watched mobile phones change the world. I've watched how we all went remote when we had COVID. I've watched and helped during cybersecurity events because we're all remote. This AI is changing everything that we do, from self-driving cars to soon robotics that are going to be brained by, the AI is going to be the brain for the robot that we're going to start, well, we may see soon. So embrace it. Don't be fearful of it. Try to engage with it. And if you have any questions, you could definitely reach out to me. I make myself always available for these kinds of things because I love technology. I love where it's going. I can't wait to see what's around the corner. And that's pretty much it. So I'll open it up for any questions if you guys have anything. And I'll give you a little bit of time back. Yeah.
Where did you set up the automations, for posting your social media automatically?
That was through N8N. There are 3 different platforms that we use, which was, these back here are from N8N. It's an open source community where you can actually start playing around with this and start automating these systems. This is a template. I just basically, as you see at the top there, it says marketing. I went through and I clicked on marketing. I went through and said, "Ooh, that looks interesting. Let's play around with it." It came up with this template, a template like this. I clicked add, and then I was able to add what's called API keys. API keys are a way, it's kind of like a password to get access to a system. So I put in my API keys for Twitter, for LinkedIn, for Facebook, YouTube, all those other social networks. Once I got those connected, I then tested this trigger, and I either tested it with a form or an email and watched what it did. You have to tune it carefully, but once you tune it, man, that's going to save you a ton of time. Yes, sir.
We're starting to see some customers do searches for next companies through AI. Do you foresee that overtaking Google searches at some point? When do you think that will happen?
It's already happened.
Right, there's more searching for, so I own a painting company.
Yeah.
So you think there's more people searching through AI, best painting company in a certain area than going to Google?
Well, those people that have adopted AI are doing all the searching through AI. They're not searching through Google anymore. The people that I've helped train and show them how to use AI, they use Google less and less every day because they get tired of doing a Google search and finding all these ads and going to another page and, oh man, now I need a different location or this doesn't show the results. They have to go back and research it. Whereas when you're talking with AI, as you're either talking or putting the text in, you can say, well, reframe it. Say, I want to find painting companies within a 5-mile radius, and it didn't show the results it wanted. Give me a 10-mile radius. You didn't have to go research it. It went back and researched that. The other thing that we're seeing is, you guys have heard of SEO, search engine optimization. We're also seeing AI engine optimization as well. So they're training AI to find your information faster. So say, for instance, if I ask ChatGPT right now to show me a painting company within a 5-mile radius, which painting companies are going to show up? You want to make sure that you're listed on those, so when people are asking these questions, your stuff is going to show up.
Are you seeing integration with Siri and Alexa and all those coming?
You know, I moved to Apple a couple years ago, and I got to be honest, Siri's not the smartest AI out there. I'm sorry, Apple fans. I mean, I'm on Apple. I love Apple, but the way they integrated their AI, they just made it an extension that you can then use ChatGPT. That was kind of a cheap shortcut, to be honest, right? So if you're on a Pixel device, you have Gemini already on your phone. It's already there, and it takes Apple a little while to catch up. Yeah, I lost track on that one. Sorry about that.
With searching, like home service providers, I know the voice, that was another area that we were looking into, having Alexa at home. Alexa, who would you suggest to paint my house?
That's actually, I got it. So you brought up Alexa, so I'm going to have to tell you a quick story. Be careful what you ask for on these devices. I had a customer that, he was an older gentleman. He bought the wrong video on Amazon Prime. He told his, I'll say smart device, just not to trigger anybody's devices, to call Amazon customer service. Guess who he called? A scammer. Didn't call Amazon customer service. So the scammers have better search engine algorithms than the companies themselves. What happened was he actually, the Amazon's support or customer service said, yeah, I see the movie that you ordered wrong. Yeah, I'll refund it. Oh no, I refunded too much. I need you to go to the store and buy gift cards to pay me back. That was my first red flag. I said, why did you do this? I mean, really, come on. And he threw his back out, so they had him go out to CVS to buy a bunch of Google gift cards, probably about $5,000, $10,000 worth, and he did. And it still baffles me why. He scratched them off, put them in an email, and sent it over to the guy. Well, after he hit send on that button, he got a call from his credit card company and said, there's about $12,000 worth of purchases going to all over the country from Amazon. Are you making these purchases? He said, no, I'm not making these purchases. It's definitely fraudulent. So the point here, which I'm not going to lose track of, is be careful what you ask AI as you're talking to it. So it can be wrong depending on who's feeding it the information. So you want to be in charge of feeding it your information, the right information. So ask it about your company. Ask it who you are. Ask it who's the point of contact. And the smart devices, they're all different AI systems. So Alexa, Google, Grok, Gemini, all these are different systems, different databases. So they're like different versions of Google. They have different databases to reference. So you might be correct in one, but you might not be in the other one. So double check all those. Yeah. I had to tell you that story because that guy was just...
Trust the AI car, but nothing else.
Say that again?
Trust the AI car to drive it itself, but nothing else, right?
I'm still kind of cautious about Johnny Cab. If you guys remember the old Arnold Schwarzenegger, was it Contact or something like that, the Mars movie. I don't know about how AI is. I know Waymo is coming. I know they've got some tests and some pilots out. I know Tesla has some things. I would say use it, but be cautious. Don't be like that Marine that fell asleep while his Tesla car was driving and it hit the back of a semi. I mean, be there, be observant, have your hands close to be on the wheel, but try to use it because it could save you some time. I've got a customer who drives from Philly every day to York, Pennsylvania. His Tesla does all the driving. He said that's 2 hours of time he gets back in the day that he can actually do work on. I said, man, that's kind of risky. Are you sure about that? He's like, yeah, I got the full self-driving. I was like, well, what's the difference? Well, this half self-driving does some of the things, but not all of them. So he spent that, $8,000 on Tesla to get the full self-driving. I'm cautious, but I'm overly optimistic about that caution. So I would encourage playing around with it. Because you won't know until you play around with it. How do we learn? What's life based on? Our experiences, right? So I'm up here talking because of the years of technology experience I have. I've got a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. I'm hoping that today's presentation helped you guys at least understand AI, understand a little bit about it, and can embrace it. So we still have a few more minutes yet. You guys have any other questions? Yeah.
So the difference between the ChatGPT alone, between the free and paid version, so I use it for scheduling out my day. I'll put in 7 places I need to go, start time, how much of each visit, and it'll optimize it. Or any other data. Is there a difference between what it's capturing on free versus paid versus enterprise or whatever levels?
Yes, there is. You get what you pay for, right? So when you get the paid version, you're actually supporting their system. I actually pay for Grok, so I'm kind of the same way. It has a couple more features, but what I've learned in the past is that if you go to a free system, you are the data. You are the product, right? So they're using your data that you're putting in there to mine their systems. I would say pay for a system that you're going to use and leverage, so you're not becoming the product. Your information's not going into the large model helping it train itself. They have other features on the paid version, which is why I say pay for one. If you pay for all of them, you probably be paying $100, but I don't think that's reasonable. I think playing around with them, using the prompting technique that I mentioned earlier, put those prompts in different ones to find the results and do it for different things. You might do it for work. You might do it for, how to fix your mower. You might do it for all kinds of different things. Find the one that works for you because everybody's different. Everybody learns differently. And it also references differently. Yeah, go ahead.
Because I have the paid version and it has projects in there. So
Yes.
you can create a project, upload PDFs, and that's where my concern was. Because I love to use that for search feature rather than searching through a 50-page document. So I was just more concerned with whether or not that uploaded PDF, Word doc, etc. was, from my IP and all that stuff.
How sensitive is that information?
That's the one.
Is it intellectual property type of thing, like patent issues, or?
Usually we wouldn't upload at that level.
Okay.
Just product spec docs. Or,
That's fine.
It might be from even vendors so that we don't have to look through their stuff every time.
Okay, that's perfect. I would upload that information. That's fine, because it's already public knowledge at some aspect of it. It's not something that's like a patent or a trademark. So I have actually used that several different case studies in that I did one for the big beautiful bill that was passed recently. That was like 700-800 pages of code or of legal stuff for politicians. I'm not going to sit there and read that. I put it in, I uploaded the document, and I said, give me the top 10 points that affect small business owners. It gave me a bullet point. Awesome. I just saved me hours of time trying to scroll through that document. I did the same thing to your point about real estate code or building codes. I wanted to find all the building codes, so I took a PDF document and I uploaded it and I said, search this document for this information and work on that. Because I know the information in there is accurate, to your point. If you just do a general search, you don't know where its data's at. It's got all this horsepower, but it doesn't have the smarts to know if it's right or not, right? This is where we come in. That's why AI is not going to replace us. We come in and say, nope, that's inaccurate. Here's better information. So create a project, put your information into it, and let it crunch on just your stuff. It'll get you better results and much faster. And as long as it's not like social security numbers, credit cards, patent information, intellectual property, things like that, you should be okay. Because if you're doing it, you can almost guarantee somebody else is doing it. Yeah. Yeah.
Just because you pay for it, you still have to go in and turn off the improve the model,
Yes.
or you're still the user.
They trick you like that. Yes.
Yeah, so just because you pay for it doesn't mean you have to go in and turn the toggle off.
Yeah. And which one was that? ChatGPT?
Yeah, and
Okay. Claude. Okay. So if you guys didn't hear that, even though you pay for it, make sure that you do select that or unselect the option to share your data. Right? So thank you for that. Yeah.
So last week I was in Nashville at a conference, and AI was, of course, every conference with AI in it.
Is that
There's one on ChatGPT coming out with actually almost paid sponsored ads. Is that actually just in beta rollout, or is that fake news?
How do you feel about that?
This way.
Yeah.
I came here because I don't like Google. I spend 7 hours a day in AI, and the last thing I want is to turn into Google.
That's why I stopped Googling as well, because of all the ads and all the pages. It just pops up. So it feels like they've poisoned Google, right? So they're going to start doing that. And is that on the free version or the paid version?
Well, that's what I'm not sure about.
Most likely it's the free version to help pay for the model, but typically you pay to not have ads. Used to be, same thing with Amazon or Amazon Prime, you got that, you paid for Amazon Prime or Netflix, now they're starting to show you ads at the beginning of it. So they're gonna make money out of anything, really. Maybe change the model, change to a different one that doesn't have ads, find one that does work for you. I don't know where in that system it is. I do know I've heard about it though. Yeah, yes sir.
What's the most disturbing hallucination or lie that you encounter?
Well, it's not the most disturbing, but I have found a few. So you guys have heard of Spaceship X or Starship from SpaceX. Number 8 blew up in the atmosphere. Grok, being part of XAI, told me it splashed down in the Gulf of Mexico or America, or whatever we want to call it today, right? And I said, no, that's not right. Can you please check your sources? And she said, because it was a verbal conversation, she said, oh, you're correct. I am incorrect. And next time I'll make sure that I have correct answers for you. I said, great. How do we make sure this doesn't happen again? Every question that you ask me from now on is going to be thoroughly researched, which means it takes it a couple extra seconds to come through, but that was just one of them. Also, if you guys play around with recipes, my wife and I were making something in the kitchen, and it was like a 5-gallon batch is what it came up with. I said, 5 gallons for a family of 4? That's too much. How about we reduce that? It reduced some of the measurements, but one of them was still a quarter cup or a full cup, and it needed to be 1/8 or a tablespoon. I can't remember the exact measurements. So even just doing simple math, it was incorrect. I've had others where I'm talking to it, and it must have a bad Wi-Fi connection or a bad connection, and it just starts stuttering, and it keeps repeating the same word after a while. And it just went off the rails. So I had to hit stop. I said, what is wrong with you? Please retry again. Oh, so you're really broken. So I had to stop the chat thread and retry it again. So there are problems with AI. So if we're relying on this, on some of the stuff that we're doing in work, my point is, please, please, please validate it. Make sure it's accurate. Because you don't want to put a building up with too strong of or too weak of trusses or posts or whatever else, or the pipes break or whatever else, right? That's a good question. I like that. Yes, sir. What's that?
I had it lie to me directly, and I called it out. It offered to do some stuff that couldn't actually do. It was going to produce a song with an MP3 that I could download that had all the parts in it: drums, guitar, bass, guitar solo, harmony vocals, and everything. And I was like, wow! I just asked for chords and the sheet music.
Cool.
And then it took. I was back and forth with it over a 24-hour period because it said, hey, I'm still working on it, but the solo's coming out great. You're going to love it. 24 hours later, I checked back in after it told me to wait a day. And went through the same stuff. And I said, wait a minute, you're really not going to be able to do this, are you? Said, well, you're right, there is a problem. I'm just a language model, but I can't actually produce an MP3 for you. So you lied to me.
Yeah.
And it said, well, I didn't mean to, but I guess I could have been more upfront about what my capability. I started getting back and forth. I got pissed off. I was like, oh. I said, so were you programmed to BS like a human? Because you're getting really a lot like people I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I came back and said, well, no, I'm programmed to give you the best correct answers, but I might have gotten a little excited in our conversation. And it's like fessed up to say, well, I have been programmed to keep you engaged.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so you are like a human BSer.
Correct. Yeah.
I was just like, man, that's it. And I said, how can we prevent this from happening again in the future?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I promise I won't do it, and I'll blah, 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 blah. Same crap happened the very same day and the next day again. I was just like, man.
Keep in mind, they're only as smart as the data that they've been trained upon. And every so often, they're doing more trainings. I think I asked Grok how many processors, how many cores was available to it. It said over 5 billion processor cores are available to it through XAI and SpaceX. And each graphics card is used, there's at least 5,000 cores on there. So think of the number of graphics cards that are being put in these data centers to build these language models to be almost real time. We're in a phase right now where we're agentic, where we're building agents, we're building bots for our websites, we're building agents, we're starting to chain these agents together. There is something that's around the corner called artificial general intelligence, AGI, right? That's coming. That is supposed to be the level of humans. This will be you can ask AGI anything about anything, and it'll come back with, college level answers. What's coming after that is ASI, artificial superintelligence. And I'm getting chills as I talk about that because that is a level that we've never seen in human history ever. Because what that is it's something smarter than humans. We can't look past it because we're not smart enough to know what's coming past it. So it's going to come. It's going to happen. Is that when we start putting them in the robots? And now we have, Rosie from was it Jetsons, right? Coming around to clean up our floors, help us as we get older, to take care of some stuff that we don't want to do, like mowing the lawn. Well, some of us like to still mow the lawn. But what is coming?
That's your 2029 timeline.
They also said the world's going to end in 2030 too. So I don't know if that's the
But that's when Skynet
comment. We already passed the day for Skynet. Yeah.
When it's happening.
I hope not. I hope. They say we could have a dystopian. I don't know who they are. It could be a dystopian society or a utopian society. I am optimistic, so I'm hoping that we have the utopian society based on having robots and having AI being able to do things for us, allowing us to be more creative, allowing us to be the strategists and the ideas, getting some input from other people, like we do as we work, right? We get input from other employees as leaders. So if we can leverage it in a way that makes sense and we can all prosper from it, I'm all for it. If it sends us down a dark rabbit hole, we have to be very careful. I don't know if you guys have seen, what's that guy's name? Mark, the guy, Diary of the CEO. He interviewed a couple of the ex-AI folks on there and talked about there's no guardrails in place for AI right now. Because we're going so fast, so hard against AI, we're trying to be the next Google with AI, that we're not putting constraints into place. And it's kind of scary to think about where we're going to end up, but it's also, I'm very optimistic of where we can end up with that. So I don't want to scare you guys away from AI. I'm here to help encourage it because it's coming and it helps make you better.
There's no way around. Genie's out of the bottle.
Genie is out of the bottle and there's no putting it back in. It's just who's going to be on top. Is it China? Is it us? We're building the big, you guys have heard of, Project Stargate? With Trump, Larry Ellison, Sam Altman from OpenAI, and Elon Musk. They're building the largest data center to date in Texas. They basically took over a whole town to build this data center. They're building it for ChatGPT because the US is in a race to build the best AI system before China gets there. So the question is where is there? What is the end of that? I don't know. If I had a crystal ball, and I could tell the future, I'd be playing the lottery. I probably wouldn't be up here. but I don't know. I just know what I've seen in the past. I've had my experiences to know where I've been, and I've seen these patterns over again. And this is the fastest, and I'm telling you, the fastest I've ever seen technology excel in my entire life. Starting from the dial-up days, which were painful, to the lightning speed that we're at today. I don't know what's next, but it's an exciting time to play with it before it takes over. Yes, sir.
So yes, he said that it couldn't do an output of an MP3. So before the start, I was building out a template, and this wanted to be Word, and so I was like, make it in Excel. So I know I can do Excel, Word documents, things like that.
Mhm.
Do you have a list of actually what, or do different of these platforms output different usable activities? So an Excel is not something I can share to the company. They can use that template or whatever I created. But what other outputs can these software do?
Well, what's cool about it is you can ask them. You can ask them what kind of output. So for instance, Grok can't do PDFs. Claude does, and Claude actually references Reddit and a couple other sources for where it's at. So that's why I mentioned about using different ones. For a while, Grok couldn't do images. Now they trained their model. Now Grok does images. And then Google, so Grok did images. So was it Wally? Not Wally. It was something on ChatGPT. Then it was Grok. Then Nano Banana came out for doing videos on Google. And then there's another one that just came out. Was it the new version of Sora to do videos? The stuff that you guys are watching on social media, it's getting hard to tell. It's scary. I could tell because they look like they're almost painted. I'm like, that's fake. I hear the voice of this one guy. It drives me nuts because I hear him on like half the videos that are out there on YouTube because I know they're generating it. And what I wanted to mention, that last part there, is I know you guys may be getting phone calls. I've gotten some outbound sales calls or inbound sales where they're calling me to try to sell me on a product. It was AI. So they're using it for sales prospecting now. I feel bad. I had a call from a gentleman. I said, are you AI? I don't know, man. You sound pretty robotic. Are you reading a script? Because the way I was asking, it was hard for me to tell the difference now. So it's getting that point with the videos and with the content, as well as the audio. But to your point about what content can be generated from each one of them, you're going to have to ask it. Because not all of them are trained on specific outputs. I think Midjourney was the one I was playing around with images before it got, until somebody else trained their model to be better than Midjourney. So it's going to be back and forth. What you use today might change tomorrow. And after tomorrow, it might change to something else. So keep playing. Yeah.
I was actually watching one of the reels or whatever. I think it was maybe a YouTube thing, and that guy was talking about this AI was trained to call a lead, schedule the appointment, send a notification to the sales rep, and gather the analytics and put it in a CRM to track.
Do some scraping, yeah.
I was just blown away.
Do you know what he was using?
No.
The ones that I've seen so far are Make, N8N, and I saw just last week Opal got released by Google. It's where you can start building blocks of these things, as I mentioned earlier, building these blocks to start chaining those things together. So this is where we're becoming agentic AI, where we're putting agents in place of that.
Yeah.
A fantastic example.
Amazing.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure it all out myself.
That blew me away.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I do lunch and learns, and I'll put it in the location we're going, how many people, and it'll figure out where to buy the food, how many pizzas to order, and et cetera, and who will deliver, who won't. ChatGPT wasn't doing a great job at it until their mapping is integrated better now.
Yeah.
To find the closest pizza shop to that training.
Yep.
So it only takes 3 minutes now, or before we had a full-time person just managing trainings and lunch and learns.
Wow.
Well, so what we do is we value stack the people up, so it's a level up, so we don't decrease staff. We put it to more value-driven activity, because definitely figuring out how many pizzas to order and all that is not true value-driven work.
Correct. So you're finding a huge time savings and to do things more productive. Fantastic.
Just to follow up, there is an AI that does make MP3s and waves for songs. Songer.co.
Okay.
I'm a musician, and this thing made a song that, best song I ever frickin' heard. Couldn't even believe it was a real, got a voice to it.
It makes you question what you really hear on the radio. Is it starting to be AI generated? So there's going to be a lot of things that you guys maybe start questioning because of this stuff, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Is that what you made?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's about a weekend getaway that my wife and friends had.
Wow. That's cool.
And when you hear it on a big full system, the production level was tremendous.
And it does it in like 30 seconds.
Wow. So let me know when you go platinum or gold on that one. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you for hanging out. I have some cards and some poker chips back there. If you guys want any other information, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help. If you want to talk about AI, have a lunch and learn or whatever, I love this stuff. Just let me know what you need. Thanks, guys.